You have to understand chemistry. You have to understand science. You have to understand, what is going to change the structure of hair and how important that is, because it could be the difference between someone leaving with hair on their head or off of it.
So welcome back to It Takes Your Universe. I'm Ashley, your host, and today we have the privilege of having 5-time NAHA winner, L'Oreal Matrix Artistic Director, Michelle O'Connor. So she's from Florida. She flew in just for me. No, I'm joking.
Only for you.
You're here for Ulta. I don't know, what can you say? Okay. So I wanted to, our first hairstylist, hairdresser, what's the term?
Hairstylist is good.
Okay, hair creator, hair designer, I don't know.
Hair architect.
Yes.
Yeah.
See? Reviving or improving. So first question I'd like to start off with, yes, why this craft? How did you find this craft?
I think, wow. Why this craft?
Yes.
I think I've always been a creative.
Ballerina.
I started out in my first life as a dancer. Being a dancer brings you to the stage. Bringing me to the stage brings you to characters and transformations and just getting lost into being someone else, and that entails makeup, it entails hair, it entails designated periods of time that you're trying to emulate. And so once I evolved from dancing, I knew that I wanted to stay in something artistic and creative, and so I was attracted to the art of hairdressing. I just was intrigued by what hair did, how it could transform people. I think within my own family there's so many textures of hair. There's a lot of racial diversity, so that contributed to contributed to a lot of different textures of hair, from straight to wavy to tightly coiled. And so I think I was just really awestruck with how that enhanced a person, how it changed a person, how it made a person feel. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's so much deeper than just what you see.
Right. Oh my god, that's beautiful. That was poetic. I felt she was talking to my soul.
Was it a little dance-like?
It was
it was
fluid. It was fluid. I felt different because, as you guys know, if you know, it was brown hair, then I changed it to red hair, and I feel different. I feel lighter. I feel more confident. Yeah. Even though this is my color that I had when I was a little kid. So, okay, I'm not fake. So how does one, for upcoming hairstylist, how does one go from doing family members' hair to then putting a portfolio together to then getting money? What is that process?
Well, like a lot of careers, there are many different sectors to it. So hairdressing can be something where you're in a salon and you're doing clients, and that's very gratifying, and people are very successful doing that. You can also go into production work where you are working on sets and movie sets and commercials. You can be a platform artist where you are actually the ones that are demonstrating and setting the trends. You can work in fashion where you collaborate with designers, and your looks again are what's setting what we see in the magazines, and what sort of trickles down into mainstream society is what's the next haircut? Is it the wolf cut? What's the next hair color? Is it the red hair color? You can be that hairdresser. And so the starting place really is simple. It's school. You go to cosmetology school. Every state has different requirements. California, I believe, it's something like 2,100 hours of education and training. So that possibly takes somewhere around 1.5 to 2 years, I think. And depending on where you are in the country, every state regulates its own amount of time. So once you do that, you take a board exam. Yes.
Exam?
You do. You take a board exam.
Is it written and on models, or?
So generally speaking, it is written because it's your theory. Hairdressing is more than just taking a comb and a brush and raking it through someone's hair. There's chemicals involved. And so if you were getting into the aspect where you're talking about becoming a hairdresser but having a specialty such as being a colorist, you have to understand chemistry. You have to understand science. You have to understand, what is going to change the structure of hair and how important that is, because it could be the difference between someone leaving with hair on their head or off of it. So, very important stuff.
Yeah. See, there's more to it. See, I like learning. Okay, so you say you passed the exam, but then you say you go on your route. But for you, you're a teacher.
Yeah.
You're 5-time NAHA-winner. And what is NAHA for those who don't know?
Yes,
Because I only knew because of you.
Yeah, okay. So it's an acronym, and it stands for the North American Hairdressing Awards. And in the industry, it's considered a very prestigious award. It's considered the Oscars of hair. And
Was an Oscar winner.
it is really the highest level of artistry that you could see hair exist in. Okay. So it's a collection of imagery that once a year, everyone sets out to create a collection, very similar to what a designer would do, right? So you create this collection and you hire makeup artists and photographers and models, and you create visually this hair art that is immortalized in a photo. And then it's judged by, elite individuals in the industry, and then there's nominations and there's awards and there's categories such as like avant-garde hair and color and best hair cutting. So there's many different and texture. Yes, absolutely. So
yay! Okay, cool. Learning. So also my question: you're a mommy.
I am.
So how did you? Because oh my god, me pursuing acting out here with my cat. I'm like, oh my god, I'm out of town. Who's gonna take care of my cat? Yeah. How are you able to pursue this? Because you're not just a hairdresser. Okay, you're a teacher, traveling. Yeah. How are you able to balance that with raising a boy?
Yeah. I think a lot of people will benefit from hearing the answer to this question. Is every step of the way you think you're failing, right? At one or all things.
Oh no.
And so when something is going well in one area, the other area you feel like you've dropped the ball. So every day it's sort of a reshuffling of your life and your priorities. And one of the things that I made sure I did was I made sure that I helped him seek out a passion. And I wanted him to be as passionate about something as I was about something. And so that, along with him having a passion and being excited about his own world, as well as having great family support. So without that unit, that whole village thing, and without helping him find something that he's just as passionate about, like, it would have been impossible. So those are the things.
Oh my god, the reason I smiled is because you said it takes a village. So, just a reminder, so it takes a village to raise a child. That's what my whole company is for the entertainment industry. It takes a universe to raise a star. So we're all stars in this industry.
I like
and
that.
Together make the universe. So, my little questions here. Oh yes, I watched something. You said that we're not just hair. There's a person attached to hair, and there's a story. What inspired you to say that? And like, I feel like because our hair is like political.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like it's political? And then now you're saying there's a person behind that.
Absolutely. It's like opening up Pandora's box.
Right.
It's
a never-ending question.
It's so multi-layered, and particularly when you're speaking to women of color, it goes even deeper. It really is overarchingly about everyone that sits in a chair and has their hair done and groomed, and it's a profession where you're touching someone. You're in their private space, right? And you are privy to vulnerable conversations. You are privy to traumas. You are privy to like the history of everything that person along with their hair has been through. And so when I say it is more than just hair, there's a person under it, there's a person attached. Right. It's also the journey of that hair. Has someone felt like their hair wasn't good enough? Has someone felt like they didn't get a job because their hair didn't fit a certain aesthetic? Has someone felt like, they got a version of hair that was considered bad? Has someone, there's so many things that are tied to it, and it is how you show up in the world. Because if you go out there and you feel like your hair is a mess, your makeup, you can get a flawless beat, right? You can put on, if you feel like you're not your ideal body, you can put on something that makes you feel better. Right. But your hair is like, you don't really have the luxury of taking it off unless you do something drastic, right? So it has the ability to change your mood drastically, and because of that, it's how you show up to work. It's how you show up as a parent. It's how you show up as a wife. It's how you show up as a sister. It's how you show up in the world.
Right.
And so when you feel great about yourself, when you feel great about your hair, you show up a better version of yourself in all those spaces as well.
Right. Oh my God, that was beautiful. But that's true, y'all. I used to work in the hotel industry, and it was 3 interviews to get this job. Okay. So I interviewed, we won't say race. I interviewed with a lady. The first 2 were fine. Then I interviewed with a man. And the third one, he just looked at me, and he was like, "Did you just wake up? Because it looks like you just rolled out of bed."
Wow. And he said that out loud.
He said that out loud, and he was the head of HR. And this is my hair. And I've had another hotel that she would only come up to me and say, "You need to tie your hair back." And I was like, "Why is that?" And she's like, "Oh, guests are uncomfortable with your hair." Mm-hmm. And me, playing along, I was like, "Oh, please tell me who those are, the people are, so I can apologize to them.
So sorry about my hair."
Yeah, and she was like, I can't give you that. But like all the straight hair people, she couldn't. So yeah, that also was like, and then, other girls get picked on it at school. But now it's cool and in. So I guess, hopefully it's not a trend. It's forever thing.
It never was.
It never was.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. I've had so many people lately in LA come up to me like, "How long have you been natural?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's not even a question for me
because I was born this way.
It was always like this.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up straightening it. So I wasn't, it just caught me off guard that other people have a whole different journey. Yeah. My mom was the white one, so she braided it back. So I wasn't really aware I had curly hair.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the, bullying of that.
Yeah.
But for people who are on their curly journey from damaged hair, what would you be like, this is where you start, or these are resources to look into, or, because I feel like everyone's an expert in everything now, so social media and TikTok, and they may be following, because she even called me out because I saw someone, she's like, "I don't shampoo my hair, I just double condition it." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, moisturizer, I'll do that."
Yeah. How about never bathing again?
So she was like, "It's basically never bathing your hair and just putting lotion in lotion." I was like, "Ooh." So are there resources like websites, where could they go if they're like, "I don't know where to start, I don't want to straighten this anymore, I want to embrace the texture"?
I would definitely say, I'm not gonna, knock TikTok and Instagram. They're great resources, but you really have to filter the information and who you're receiving it from. Consumers have spent the past 2 decades, and when I say consumers, I mean, individuals that are not professionally trained hairstylists, right? They've spent the past 2 decades, especially in the curl sector, studying, learning, understanding what works, what doesn't work. So to the credit of consumers that felt like they needed to do that, because hairdressers were not trying to enhance curl, they were trying to change it. And so as a beauty industry, the past, I would say, decade, there's been a swift and severe shift in terms of how much knowledge and information and education that hairdressers have received regarding texture and curly hair and enhancing it. So that's what I say, seek a professional and be sure that you are aware of who's giving you that information and not just following someone because you think they're popular.
Right.
Yeah.
Or their hair looks great, but also you don't know the health of it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that a lot of the, hair programs don't have a whole course for our hair.
Yes.
I never knew that.
Right.
So what do you feel, I guess that's hard because it's not on you, but what do you feel, how can we shift getting texture into hair programs?
Yes. So that's an excellent question, and yes, it is on me. So
right, I'm like, everything is on your shoulders.
So a couple of weeks ago, I was actually in LA as in partnership with L'Oreal and a project that we are working on that is going to really promote and inspire change in legislature. And this is going to be at a level where the powerhouse of L'Oreal is getting together with your lawmakers and your members of Congress and people that are actually able to implement that for you to have your license, you must be able to do textured hair. So that's, even though it's 2023, that is something that we are talking about, along with other things like the Crown Act that popped up a few years ago that became a law in quite a few states at this point, where it became illegal to discriminate against someone that's wearing locks or wearing curls or wearing, you know, Bantu knots or anything that would be deemed ethnic. That's
systemic racism,
considered not palpable to
right.
someone that, you know, is not accustomed or aware of differences and the beauty in those differences.
The entire world, other
Correct.
than their own region.
Global beauty. Yes, absolutely. Shade, no shade.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, shade, no shade, but we're honest here. Okay, I guess I'll end it off with, yes, like I was saying, it takes universe to raise a star. So I like to end it off with 2 little things, like who are stars that helped you, whether that be someone took me to my first day of hair school or they allowed me to try all these things on their hair.
Yeah.
So who was like a star in the past when you were just starting out that helped you? And who's a recent star that you're like, without those gestures of kindness, help, or knowledge, I wouldn't be.
Yeah, no, I love this, and it's a little formulaic, right? Because there are people that definitely help you on your journey, but I also feel that a big part of where you end up or what your trajectory is how you show up too. So I always showed up in excellence, whether there was someone I thought was there that was influential that could help me or couldn't help me, and I think that made me memorable. Like
right.
it allowed me to be in situations where I was showing up in excellence, I was arriving early, I was doing good work that I felt like if it wasn't up to par, that I would seek out extra training, extra education. And when those opportunities collided, where there was an individual, such as the first salon that I worked in, such as now the vice president of Ultra Beauty Salon and Services, his name is Nick Stenton. He's been a friend for like at least 15 years. When our paths crossed, it was in a capacity where he always remembered me and was like, you know what, there's something that I would love for you to do. And just in February, we were working on the Alice and Olivia show at Fashion Week. So it's been a long and enduring friendship and building together and mentorship. And so there are people that have helped me along the way that I can spew out names and say they've been fantastic and they gave me a hand up.
Right.
And also being ready when those moments presented themselves.
Yeah, no, I love that. One quote, and I'll end it. One quote is, without a goal, discipline is just self-punishment. So if you're not putting in the work towards something specifically, then what are we really doing? So I love when people answer, like, I am my star. And like, to realize your worth. And now you got to put the work in. And yeah, the energetically, yes, we want to network, but it's not, I need something. It's just if we're meant to collide.
Absolutely.
We're meant to collide. You
just be. Yeah, you just be. And those opportunities will come and flow, and then they'll meet each other.
We're ending it right there.
Thanks for coming!
I'll put all her socials so you can see the wonderful work Michelle O'Connor has done and will do.
Thank you.